We are 5 o'clock. We're 5. It's live, and people tuning in will notice that this week in events, this week, we are working from home in solidarity with everybody who's gone into tier 3. Yeah, we're with you. We're working from home. We're not in our studios. And of course, we're talking about what's going on in the world of meetings and events. And we're just having a little chat, really, aren't we?
Yeah, so
a little relaxed.
If anyone's watched this, if you watched any of the previous episodes on this show, you know we're here. Hopefully, this is just the kind of conversation that Maria and I would be having anyway. And we're going to inviting you into the conversation. We have different perspectives on things. I'm obviously a keynote speaker on creativity, innovation, AI, and Maria is not. Maria comes from the other side of the fence, from the bureau side, and a very, very successful bureau owner as well. So we have different perspectives on things, as you'll probably find out in just a moment. So as you come in, please let us know where you're joining us from in the comments section, wherever you're watching this just now. Shall we get into the show and talk about what we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the most exciting thing is we've changed things up a bit. Now we've been doing it for a little while and we've been experimenting. We thought, well, okay, let's just find a different format. And the format we're going to have 3 segments each week. We're going to have guest of the week, topic of the week, and tool of the week. Tool of the week is still my favorite. Although guest of the week, I think, may become the next favorite, I think, depending on who we manage to entice. This is actually a great opportunity, isn't it, for people?
Yeah, so this is going to be something we're just going to start. We're not starting it this week. We're going to start it next week. So it's opportunity for you. What we're looking for is every single week, we're going to bring on a new guest into the show for the first 10, 15 minutes of the show. And what we're kind of looking for, and if this is you, if you have a tactic or a technique or a strategy that is actually working, getting you gigs, speaking gigs. Now, you could be a bureau owner, agent, you could be a speaker, you could be a trainer, doesn't really matter. But the thing is, we want to hear those stories, those things that you've actually tested and you've tried, and it's actually generating results. And Maria, you've already told me about a couple of people I think we're going to have on as guests soon who have just done like one thing, and it's like, I mean, some incredible results.
Well, actually, James, I made it wider than that. I made it not only about the speaking part, and I think we should make it wider because we're talking about events and things. So I think if you're an event supplier or an event organizer or a meeting planner and you're having success, maybe you've had great success in the virtual world. So I think I'd like to expand it. Is that okay with you?
That sounds super. This whole show is a work in progress. If anyone's watching, you'll find as well. So if that sounds like you, if you have something that's just really working in your business, and don't come on, just tell us like, well, I've been doing things on Instagram and it's been getting me lots of likes. That's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for things that actually move the needle in some significant way in your business. So if that is you, please leave in the comments below. Just say some of the results you're getting. Just kind of raise your hands in the comments there, and then Maria and the team will kind of reach out and we'll have a little conversation with you about coming on as being a guest next week.
So really important, what sort of role do you have? So if you're a speaker, tell us you're a speaker, tell us what type of speaker you are, what results you're getting. So, or if you're a meeting planner, what type of meeting planners, where you're based, and the results that you've achieved specifically in 2020, I think. Let's leave it with the whole of 2020, because 2020 has been an eye-opening year, hasn't it? So 2020 vision.
2020, definitely. Let's go with 2020 vision. Yeah, so that's good. Let's maybe get into our big topic of the week. Now, this is something you and I have been we've spoken about a number of times over the past 7 months, and so the topic is, where are all the women speakers? And I thought what we'd do is we just kind of go back and forth a little bit, and this is kind of where we want you to join in as well and give us your thoughts, because there may be things, there's probably things I'm going to say that people will disagree with. That's fine. Maybe things Maria says. Maria's much more agreeable than me. But so please give us your comment. As we're kind of going through some of these, what are some of the observations that you have about why you think that, or if maybe you don't think, where are all the women speakers? Why is there less representation of women on a lot of the big stages, virtual or in person? So Maria, let's talk about this, because you actually have, I think you've got a sense of stats as well. You always come with really good stats on these things.
Well, I'm not very many stats, but I've got a few stats. But I also feel qualified to speak about females because I am a female, and I know that there are 72 other genders apparently on Facebook. We're focusing on females because we don't feel qualified to talk about any others, so apologies. So we are limiting our content here because we need to be qualified, and if anybody wants to come in and talk about diversity later on and the success they've had, we're very happy to talk about that. So interestingly, you pointed out to me a report by MPI, which is Meeting Planners International. Is it Meeting Planners? It is Meeting Planners International. That's right. That 70%.
Actually, they get really upset. So it's actually now Meeting Professionals International, because there's meeting planners get a little bit meeting planners, meeting professionals. I know some meeting professionals get upset when you say the word meeting.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I checked. I had a feeling I had got it wrong. So apologies. So straight away, with a couple of gaffes already. We're only
upset MPI already. Great.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, they did a report end of last year, a very good report, and it was talking about, it was actually titled "Where Are All the Female Speakers," which is where we took our title from, because it was a great title. And they were saying that 70% of events are still being done by men. And I thought, well, let me have a look at that. This was a study of 60,000 speakers in 23 countries. So it was pretty thorough, really, you could say. So I thought, let me look up the statistics at London Speaker Bureau and the last month. Let's look at recent stats, because I wanted to see what was going on. It's been a good month. It's been a good month. And actually, it's 35% women and 65% men. So it's not far off, but I was encouraged by the fact that it was a little bit higher than the average. That was interesting. So we thought, let's look at, why we feel there aren't as many women out there, because last time I checked, 50% of the population, more or less, is female. Yeah. And last time I went to...
And interestingly, I know on the National Speakers Association, over 50% of the members are female as well. I think it's like 54%. It may have changed. I know they're doing a new survey soon as well. So wherever you go in any of the Speakers Association, I often find it tends to squint a little bit more female. That's kind of. So you said you were kind of surprised at 35%. You were surprised that it was higher than you thought, or lower than you thought?
It's actually higher than I thought, because also I thought it was more like 25%, 25-75. So I was encouraged that it was 70% globally, and also encouraged that it's actually 35-65 currently, but that's a snapshot. But we decided to come up with some ideas, didn't we, of why you thought this was the reason. And I've come up with 5 reasons, and I don't know, should I go first with my first one?
Let's go through. We probably have some of the same reasons, so let's go through.
Yeah, let's see. And just a comment, anybody who's commenting from Facebook, if you don't give StreamYard permission to identify you, we don't know who you are unless you tell us. Claire, thank you for saying it's you. And we've seen some really nice comments. And it's nice to know that we've got somebody listening. Somebody's saying that 2020 eye-opening is putting it lightly. Absolutely. Eye-watering. I think eye-watering is probably better.
British understatement now.
I know, yeah, for an Italian, that's quite good, isn't it? So I think that there are fewer women speaking because I think women either don't put themselves forward or decline invitations more often because of their other commitments, is one of my theories. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Yeah, I mean, not putting yourself forward. In terms of why not putting yourself forward, you mentioned like the commitments, which is I'm sure is true. For me, it's always, and I coach a lot of probably a larger percentage of my Speakers U members are women speakers, and I find it's more mindset. I remember there was a great quote, which was, I think it was from it was Elizabeth Gilbert, the writer Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. And she said, she was talking about perfectionism. And this is the thing I see with a lot of my members, who I'm saying, why are you not putting yourself forward to go and speak on that stage? You should be on that. That should be you on that stage. And they said, well, we'll do it when my speech is 100% right. Or I've got these great new photos for my thing. Or I've got the perfect show reel or the thing. And when you kind of drill down on it, it starts off initially as a perfectionism myth. I have to be perfect. But as Elizabeth Gilbert said, she said, perfectionism is just a fancy way of saying fear. It's fear in Jimmy Choo's shoes, is the way I think she expressed it. So it's like a high class type of fear. And I see this all the time. I've spoken, and we want to credit Pegeen Echevarria here as well, because she's been influenced a lot of my thinking about this from Power Women of NSA, where she said, we've had a conversation where, let's say if you have a call for speakers for a conference, 100 guys will put themselves forward for it, even if only 5 of them are actually really qualified and are actually good to speak on it. But you might have 100 women who are just as qualified, but hardly any of them put themselves forward. So that's for me, that I feel like that's a mindset thing that needs to be challenged. But you're saying you think it's not. You think not. So the mindset is actually it's the you mentioned the circumstances. You feel that.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel that most of the time it is the woman's role to look after the children and to take care of the household. And if a child is ill or a child has a commitment, they come first often. And so, and then maybe they'll turn things down for that reason, or they might decline or have to pull out because a child is ill. So I wasn't thinking in terms of the sort of imposter syndrome. I don't actually like that term, imposter syndrome, personally. But so I'm thinking from that point of view. So there's a few comments actually here. So nice to see Alison Edgar, who is now an MBE. Congratulations, Alison. Well done. How cool is that? Yeah, Lavelda is here. She's saying, I agree wholly that there's a lot of mindset stuff with female speakers. I find the same with my clients. I know she does a lot of work helping females. Henry is saying that there are not enough female speakers because there are still too many boards and groups and leaders who are male and tend to book males. Yeah. And actually she's right. And actually that was one of my other ones that, it's the role models there. What else have we got here? Tom is saying women, if they put themselves forward for a job, like to be 95% qualified. If they are 20% qualified, they'll apply, they'll fake it and learn on the job. That's interesting. That's interesting, you naughty boys, slap wrists. Okay.
But I think it was Henry who was just talking. I mean, this is an interesting one. So we talk about where are the women speakers? So let's assume like in National Speakers Association, there's more female speakers than there are male speakers. Why is that not necessarily being reflected on some of the bigger stages? And this, if we think about Fortune 500 companies, why is there only, and I'm going to take a guess here, 20% of board members and C-suite, the CEOs, chairs who are female? So why the organization as a whole might have 50-50 or maybe more female, but when you get to those senior levels, that's the thing. So it's like and I think you mentioned that role model piece. But if we were to say someone on the street, give me a name of a motivational speaker. Who's the first person when you think of a motivational speaker? What do you think they would say?
They're going to say Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. They're not going to say female.
Do you think anyone would say, like, if you said, tell me about a female motivational, I'm just using motivation as a topic here, but like a motivational speaker that the public would know, who do you think they would say?
I think they'd probably say someone like Oprah Winfrey, but she's more of a broadcaster than a motivational speaker and sort of somebody that people look up to. But I think they might say Oprah.
Yeah.
We should try it. Go out on the street.
Yeah, so we should do a vox pop later on. See, I think this is really fascinating on the role model, because not all industries conform to this same thing. So if we look at the legal industry, that's quite similar to the speaking industry, or traditionally was, that you had lots of female associates and maybe even partners, but very few senior partners, managing partners. But then if you look on the flip side, if you look at something like forensics, if you look at the world of forensics, Professor Sue Black, who's a forensic anthropologist, I heard her speak, brilliant speaker. And she was saying one of the reasons why the most senior jobs in forensics are held by women is on TV and film. More of the senior people on those shows are women. So you can imagine yourself, if you see someone that looks like you or sounds like you, you're more likely to think, I can do that. It's like the role
model thing. Yeah, the role model thing. So we've actually covered 3 of mine now, because one was the declining. The other one was not coming forward, which you covered really, and then the role models. So here's another one, and I wonder if it's also an issue, is the tech element at the moment. Because, and I don't know, is that a gender bias to say that guys are usually better at? I mean, I love tech. I sort of muddle my way through, and there are women like me who love tech, which is why I love Tool of the Week, because I love a gadget or an app or whatever. I don't know, do you think that women are more intimidated by technology, or is that just really old-fashioned?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword here, because certainly if we probably hang out in some of the same groups, we're using a tool just now called Ecamm, we're using another tool called StreamYard. And so if you hang out in those Facebook groups, those tend to go a little bit more male in terms of the people that are using them. And I think some of that actually comes because of gamer culture, because a lot of what we do now, live streaming, comes from gaming culture, where people would live stream their gaming. So that's a little bit left over from that world, I think. But there's also a great opportunity here, and actually this is not a male or a female thing, but for people who have children, especially younger children, virtual speaking is an absolute boon, because now you can look after your children or elderly parents or something without necessarily having to get on a plane. And even when it comes back, you could bill it. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. So I'm not sure about the technical side. I think I would need to see some data for it. It feels like that could be the case, but I don't have anything to prove it at this stage.
Yeah. And actually, the point you make is really great, because the declining invitations because of commitments now, when it's virtual, isn't such a big deal, because you can literally be in the next room as the kids. You can still be at home, so you're not illegal by abandoning them and leaving them on their own to go and do a gig, because you're actually there.
Well, and talking about technology, if you think about it, where we're going, it certainly feels like me with a lot of speaking for certain types of clients, not like for more public events, let's say. Those ones, traditionally in the past, they might have gone to someone because they were a top author, a nonfiction business author. And in the nonfiction business world, those books you would see at airports, when we used to go to airports, a lot of men, and they were reviewed by a lot of men. And the publishers, although it was a bit more of a split. So that kind of tended to be itself. So, but writing is a relatively low tech thing. But you see a lot of conferences now, they're not necessarily wanting to book authors, famous authors anymore. They want to book influencers. And I hate that word with a passion, influencer. But if you look at some of the biggest influencers, they're more female, I would say. So that'll be interesting to see whether influencer culture starts putting itself to the fore in conferences. I would imagine it would for certain types of industries. We're going to start seeing that push forward a little bit more.
Interesting. Actually, we said, where are all the female speakers? I think they're actually all on this live at the moment, because we're getting lots of comments from lots of ladies here. So Alison's asked, do you have any stats on age ranges for women speakers? Sadly, I don't. It'd be lovely if there was more research done on the speaking industry and more stats available. That is so difficult. It's all so fragmented, isn't it? So we've got Facebook users saying it's totally opening a new market. Completely agree, and totally agree that it's not either or. It is actually a new market. Totally agree. Love that. Visibility is so important. And actually, yes, that was one of my comments too, that I think a lot of women have lower visibility. Why? I don't know. And again, I haven't got any stats. It's just a feeling that I see more men on social media being being out there, unless obviously you're following me, because I'm always there on time. You can't get away from me.
And so there's a little bit of a thing. I've been sharing a video a lot this week by someone mentioned, as Kathleen Hoffman's mentioned, Mel Robbins, who I really like. She's, in terms of the speaking world, she's phenomenal. She's very, very good, and she does very high gloss things. She's a TV presenter in the States as well. But her recent videos that she's been sharing are very simple, real, like to the camera, heart. I mean, no makeup, nothing fancy or anything, but her ability to tell a story and to push that story through and to really connect is brilliant. And so there's no fancy graphics, no fancy green screen stuff, no fancy hair and makeup, just her message, and it's connecting. And if anyone wants to go in, if any of you are feeling a little bit knocked about just now by all the COVID stuff, go and check out some of Mel's latest videos, because I think they're outstanding in terms of her getting across a message and being, as a motivational speaker, being motivational in a different way.
Yeah, fantastic. I actually have been enjoying Dan Pink's Pinkcast. I don't know if you've seen that. I found that really uplifting. And again, short videos. I do like the short. I've got a short attention span, so I like that. So listen, the other one I've got is a bit of a controversial one here, and I don't know if I should go on the record saying it or not.
Why not?
What do you think?
It's only me, you, and a few hundred people or something just now. But it's just
Yeah.
us.
It's not. It's just us. Okay, just between us. Come closer. There are fewer women, right? But when you've got a problem and if someone's going to be difficult, it's going to be a woman. And I wonder if we remember that fact that we've had difficult and awkward experiences with the women speakers because there are fewer of them. But I can tell you there are there are women who are really difficult to work with. And I think some organizers will avoid women because they think, are they all like that? And we do ourselves a big disservice. So actually, I'm going to plead out there, ladies, behave and be really good to work with and easy to work with, because we just ruin it for everybody else.
I mean, that's interesting. I'd love to get people's comments on that. If you think, I've
got a comment there saying, really? I've had some, I've had certain female speakers reduce my clients to tears.
In brutal transparency, I'm going to tell everyone a story just now. I'm not going to say who the thing is or who the client was. I was speaking at a conference. It was a very big conference. And we were traveling in like a speaker's bus, I guess, like a little small minibus thing. Myself, two of the other speakers who are female speakers from the US, and the conference organizer, who's also a woman. And we're kind of going on to the thing. And one of the female speakers in the bus said to the conference organizer, we were kind of chatting and having a laugh, and said, so why don't you have more women speakers speaking at your conference? You've got me and her, but like the majority is guys. What's going on? And the conference organizer, who didn't mince her words, and she was very straight to the point, she said, it's because women speakers are more of a pain in the neck than male speakers. At this point, I go quiet and move to the back of the bus, expecting, and as the fireworks start going off and everything. And so because I'm a speaker and not an event organizer or a bureau, I don't see a lot of that stuff. I'm working with a client, and usually the clients I'm working with, if it's the events team, they're mostly women. Usually, for the more senior events organizers are women. So I don't get your perspective. I don't see the things that you see or the client sees all the time. That having those conversations, just this speaker is such a pain, because I know a lot of speakers who I really like, male speakers, and the key thing that they push in their bureau kits is that they're easy to work with. It's like
absolutely. It's so important. Yeah. And so yes, it's terrible. And I don't know if we notice it more because there are fewer. It could well be that. But it certainly stands out and it grates. We should mention our sponsor. I don't know if we should do that now, James. What do you think?
Yeah, let's because I've got maybe two or three other little bits on this, but we want to give a big thanks out to London Speaker Bureau. They are our sponsor for the series. We're now on episode 5, I believe, of This Week in Events.
Oh, let's not do that again. How many episodes?
So London Speaker Bureau are really the world's only global speaker bureau. They have offices, I believe, in 18 countries, or they have 18 offices all around the world. They represent the creme de la creme of keynote speakers, but also people doing boardroom advisory as well. So if you're watching this just now and you're planning a conference and you're looking for that maybe next great female speaker for your event, then check out londonspeakerbureau.com. Thanks to all their support for this as well. So
sorry, you had a couple more. You said a couple of more.
Well, yeah. So we talked about mindset. We talked about role models, situation, authorship as well. The final one I was just going to mention is the types. So the type of event and the type of topic you speak on. This was taught to me by Sally Hogshead, who's a great speaker from the United States. When she decided on what topic she wanted to speak about, she did a lot of research, and she found that speakers that speak on the topic of creativity earn on average $5,000 less per speech than speakers that speak on innovation. So when she was
Yes.
she tilted more towards the innovation, and I thought that, well, that's really smart. So there's certain topics which are just, they get paid more. They're in higher demand. They get paid more. And so if you are a female speaker and just getting started just now, pay attention when you're doing your research, which topics get paid the best if you want to be paid higher. And the other one, and I remember seeing this research years ago, which just said that fundraising events where they're looking for an outside speaker, paid professional speaker for fundraising events, squints much more towards female speakers. But when you get those events, I'm going to say, like the Economist type events or the big thought leaders, the Davos style kind of events, that squints heavily towards male. And those higher profile, those higher big thought leader events tend to pay more than the fundraiser events. So there's a little bit of that. So thinking about from a positioning standpoint as a speaker, regardless of male or female, think about the kinds of audiences that you want to speak to. And maybe if you're wanting higher, I'm saying probably you want to go more in the corporate world than the industry associations. Associations tend to pay a little bit less. So that's just, male or female, it doesn't really matter. So I'm sure we're getting comments. We must be getting thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, people wanted to know what the bad behaviours are. I mean, I'd have to give definite examples. I think it's a bit difficult, but put it this way: I suppose lack of flexibility, demanding things that are really not necessary, being diva-ish, and you can be a diva if you're male as well, of course.
Absolutely.
And not always sticking to what's being agreed, that kind of stuff. The kind of stuff that's just not really professional. But anyway, I think we also ought to touch on a few things that maybe can be done to increase the number of females on stage. So a couple of thoughts from me. I think, first of all, probably have a bit more diversity in the organisers. So we do have many women in this industry, but maybe they're not always on the decision panel. And we probably don't have diversity full stop, representing everybody anyway, not just the females. I think that would be a start. I think would be one thing. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that or any others.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, there is an inherent bias in some people, in everyone, there's certain bias in everyone. So sometimes you can, once you've confirmed you as a speaker for an event, and I'm going to speak to the males here. If you've been invited onto a panel or as a keynote speaker, once you've confirmed yourself, so you've done your deal, ask them, are you now looking, or can you tell me a little bit more about maybe other speakers that you're looking for? This gives you an opportunity to suggest speakers. I've done this a number of times, and the conference organizers have been women. And I'm saying, listen, you're looking for this topic here. Do you know there's this great speaker here as well? So you're doing a little bit of kind of signposting. Now, that then is your responsibility then as a speaker to understand in your topic area and in related topic areas to you who the great female speakers are on it. So that requires research, because if you just see the same people you see every time, you're going to recommend someone that looks like you, sounds like you, is from the same country as you. So you have to kind of look a little bit more broadly, and that's an opportunity for you if you truly believe your job is there to serve the client in a slightly different way.
Absolutely. And Lavelda's made a lovely point here. She's saying diversity in decision making, I think, would make a significant difference. Fantastic. Wonderful. So the other thing I think is to avoid tokenism. There does tend to be like, we've got all men, let's add a woman just as a token gesture instead of really thinking about, adding value and thinking about that. It has to be the right person for the role, of course, but let's just not put a token female in as such.
And also what some conferences try and do, and you have to catch them out on this if you see them trying to do this, is on a panel. Let's say if I get invited to do on a panel, they won't bring any females as panelists, but they'll hire a female moderator. And that allows them to tick the box to say, we have diversity. No, that doesn't really work that way. So you obviously want to get the best speakers for the job. But if you truly believe when the population is 50%, that you can't have 50% or thereabouts, as females, add diversity. Now, once again, we're only talking about diversity here in terms of one type of gender. So there's a lot of diversity, a much bigger topic than that. So.
Yeah, sure, and absolutely, ethnicity, etc. So the other thing I think is about supporting and mentoring women, and I know there are people in the group who do that, and promote, and also we've got to sort of support each other as well, sort of not just in recommending each other, but actually be kind to each other. Women can be very competitive, just as men can be, but we can. Yeah. Did you not know that? As we get older, we get softer and kinder. But I think younger certainly we're incredibly competitive, and so just sort of helping, girl power.
What is fascinating is in my previous life before being a speaker, as you know, I was an artist manager, and so I managed a lot of artists with big egos, male and female, and I know what you're talking about the competitive, the different styles of competition. But yes, that's true. And I know people are asking about what paid women speakers do you love to refer? There's a number, depending on what the client is looking for. In my own topic area, which is around creativity, I'll refer you to someone like Denise Jacobs, who's a speaker that lives in Miami. She's really good. If you're looking for a speaker who's more on futurism and things like that, Kate O'Neill from New York. I'm just mentioning some US speakers here as well. What about yourself? When when you think like top, who should we be looking at as role models?
Well, I'll tell you our most booked female speakers from last year. Two names that I can share with you straight away. Shivi Jervis, who's a futurist, great speaker, and Inma Martinez. Both of them looking at future, because those were very hot topics. So those were in our top 10 most booked speakers for last year. So definitely would recommend those. There are a lot of great speakers, actually, a lot of great female speakers. Of course, it has to be relevant to the topic. So yes. We're lucky. We have quite some.
How do you feel about positive discrimination then? So I had a quick question here from Lavelda, this is actually an interesting point. And I first, now who was it? Andrew Bryan, who's a speaker in Singapore. I know he does this. He said, I have had men on panels I've moderated refuse to do a panel discussion if there wasn't a woman on the panel.
Yeah, so, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
I'm actually, I just got an inquiry today for a panel, to speak on a panel. So I'm going to now ask, I know the moderator is a woman, but I'm going to ask who the other panelists are now. So thank you, Lavelle.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. So listen, I suppose we're running out of time. We've overrun, but we've got to do our tool of the week, haven't we, really?
Yes, our tool of the week. We should describe what is a tool of the week.
Right. So a tool of the week is basically, it's either an app or a gadget that we love to use, or it's a person who's a total tool that we want to call out. And we've not done that yet, have we? We might have to do that at some point.
It could be coming. It could be coming sooner.
It could be coming, sooner than we think. Yeah. So can I go first?
Go for it.
Okay, so mine is a low-tech solution to a problem. So I shut my door when I'm filming, because otherwise you can see the door in shot. And sometimes I shut the door because I just want quiet. And the partner will come in with a cup of tea, and I'm streaming. So what I did, I wanted to get one of those things with the lights that said on air, but they're just too complicated with either the technology or the wires. So I got this.
Oh, that's very nice.
And I just hang that on the door, you see. I've taken it off now, so we'll probably get interrupted. But yes,
Isn't that nice? Where did you get it? Did you get it from Etsy or one of those kind of stores, or was it easy to find online?
I actually got it. I got it from Amazon, and we'll put a link if anybody wants to. But that's a nice low budget way of saying you are live, you see, rather than having one of those. Although I did want one of those boxes, saying, with a red light. But this is my, they are. There you go. That's my gadget.
I'm going to get one of those for our Amazon delivery person, who always seems to turn up when I'm filming as well. So that's good. We like that. Low tech, bit of low tech.
Fantastic. Is yours low tech? I bet it's not.
No. I'll do a low tech one next week, maybe. My tool of the week is something that has saved us a lot of money over the past 12 months, which is always good, and really easy to use. And it's kind of one of those things like, why didn't we do this earlier? It was recommended to me by a friend who's a bass player in a band called Simple Minds, rock band, who tour all over the world.
You name dropper.
Great band. So anyway, Simple Minds touring all over the world when we used to be on planes. One of the challenges when you travel different countries, you're always paying things and you're getting absolutely dinged on the currency transfer rates. So there's an amazing, and also if you're being paid in different currencies as a speaker, you get hit by all the foreign currency transactions. So there's a tool that I use called TransferWise, which I think is Irish, or maybe it's UK originally. And it's really great, simple app. It allows you to even set up different bank accounts in different countries, transfer across different currencies, and also you get a credit card or a debit card with it. And when you pay things on that debit card, it recognizes which currency you're paying in. So it takes the money from that dollar account or euro account. And it's fabulous. So I love TransferWise. But you just because I mentioned this to you, and you told me something I didn't even know that they did, which I'm going to have to get now.
Yeah, it's TransferWise borderless. So in fact, you don't actually have to have accounts in different countries. You can have the money coming into TransferWise, and then you can pull it out and put it into your sterling account or euro account or whatever, which is wonderful. So love that. You're fading in and out a bit there. Can you see that? Is your internet fading? Yeah, or is it just me? Is it my eyes? It might be my eyes. I haven't been for an eye test this year.
It's getting towards the end of the week. We're using a different camera. This is our dress down Thursday. We're not on our usual nice fancy backgrounds. We thought we'd switch things up a little bit today as well. I've got my Sri Lankan war drum in the corner. So that's going to get battered a little bit later. With Tom Morley's with us today. I'm sure you would approve.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, listen, it's been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So, shall we play ourselves out with our
I think we should. If anyone, we're going to put all the links to some of the things we mentioned in the show. Give us about 15 minutes or so. Go to thisweekinevents.com. Just enter your details there, and you'll be able to get the show notes and all the links and all the tools in there, plus the ones we mentioned from previous shows. And please tell other speakers and other bureau owners and other event organizers about This Week Events. It's every Thursday at 5 o'clock UK time, London time, because it'd be lovely to see more of you here with us. So yeah, Maria, shall we play them out today?
Let's play the music out. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care.